Hey, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss the 2015 fourth and final film in our Chipmunks marathon for now. Alvin and the Chipmunks Road Chip. Hour and a half long, as all films should be. Super fast, very entertaining. Got very dark at one point, and it got very emotional at the end. And it was filmed like a final. Watching these films as a miniseries rather than a film series, I feel like worked in my own benefit because there was a lot of points specifically in this one too where scenes ended and then new ones started as if you were cutting to a commercial break. And it was very interesting. I don't know if it was intended that way, but it just felt like I was watching a TV show. The big final song number of the Chipettes and the Chipmunks singing with Bella Thorne's character of Ashley. Dave's now a producer. It's many years in the future compared to obviously the last film. But they're in a new house. New world is starting. Dave's not writing music anymore. He's producing music. So one of his artists, Ashley, played by Bella Thorne, is having an album release party in Miami. So then the quest is then, how do you stop Dave from proposing to his girlfriend in Miami when you're in Los Angeles? Stuff, right? That's the theory of the Chipmunks. And then their potential future new brother-in-law. Potential future new stepbrother, Miles. Anyway, the big musical number at the end was it just felt like the finale of Big Time Rush. I genuinely felt like it felt like the finale of Big Time Rush. And I think that's also why I love this franchise so much. Because now that I'm saying these things out loud, this reminded me so much of Big Time Rush. It was musical, it was comical, it was adventurous, it was action-packed, it was stunt-filled, it was pranky, shenanigan entertainment. And that's literally what Big Time Rush is, the show. And that's literally what this film is. 2007, 2009, 2011, and 2015. The four live-action Chipmunks films. Absolutely hysterical, specifically because of this now comparison to Big Time Rush. It had that kind of musical nostalgia, which Big Time Rush brings, of just laughing with your friends watching this. You know, back in the day when it premiered on, Saturday nights. You had an iCarly, you had a Big Time Rush, and you had a Victorious premiere back to back to back. And it was just wonderful. You just sat and you laughed and you had a grand old time. So, this film, the pranks were a little bit more violent. And I did not expect Theodore getting hit by a car at one point and then stop breathing. And I was like, what is happening right now? Like, what happened? This was a lighthearted, franchise and then like stuff. But it was resolved. And the new brother Miles, future stepbrother Miles, was very violent as well in regards to his pranks. But then everything toned down as they are getting lost and the Chipmunks are now on a no-fly list. So the plane gets diverted from Los Angeles to Austin, and they sing a show in Austin to get money to then, depending on how far they can go, so they go from Austin to New Orleans, sing a show, and then they eventually get to Miami, causing more chaos along the way, of course. But then the four of them all bond as they're literally hiking through the back roads to get from point A to point B to point C. And how does that work? And then finding out that Dave wasn't actually proposing, that he was holding the ring for one of his friends, whose name I don't remember, but I forget his name. He was in My Name is Earl with Jason Lee. So it was really cool seeing the two of them together again as well. They're playing producer friends or co-workers, something like that in this film. But it was nice seeing that they would get to work together again, because My Name is Earl was awesome. It only had 4 seasons on Fox. That was it. They were robbed of a 5th season. Absolutely robbed. I could talk hours about how upset I am that My Name is Earl ended when it should not have ended. C'est la vie. But it's cool, and I've said this a bunch of times. It's neat seeing actors who work well together do other projects together, and this is a prime example of the two of them working together very well in My Name is Earl, and then working together very well in Alvin and the Chipmunks Road Chip. It's fun. So I noticed there was a different tone of this. It was darker. The Chipettes weren't in this as much. They were doing an audition round with American Idol. They were guest judges for that. So they were in the beginning, they were in the end. Ian wasn't in it. David Cross's character wasn't in it. For some reason, I thought Toby was back. Cousin Toby, played by Zach Levi. He was only in the second film. So I like that each film, now that we're talking about the four of a franchise, each film had very specific different elements to it in regards to plot points. But of course, Dave's always going to scream Alvin in all four. Of course, Christmas is always referenced in all four at some version, whether it's a flashback cover photo or something, right? Tony Hale's character in this film, Smugs, something like that. He's an air marshal who is the one who bans the Chipmunks and puts them on the terrorist no-fly list. Absolute hysterical scene when the monks see their pictures on the screen in the next airport, in the Miami airport, and it was just very entertaining. Tony Hale's a good voice actor. He's great in Arrested Development as well, which also is funny enough because David Cross is in Arrested Development. But I wish David Cross was back as the Ian character, because to have the two of them in this project, I would also say, oh, and they work so well together in Arrested Development. So, c'est la vie. I'm saying that a lot today. C'est la vie. This worked very well. It was very entertaining. Franchise as a whole is very entertaining. They changed a lot, though, within the way it was produced. The production company of the first three did not do the third, in regards to editing, something like that. The sound mixing was different as well. The first three were in regards to actual physical audio recording, and then you speed the tape up. That's how you get the chipmunk sound. The third film, and they did that specifically because that's how the originals were done back in the 50s, and the cartoon in the 80s, and the movies in the 80s, and stuff like that. This third film everything was digital. Everything was digital in regards to shooting, in regards to camera work, and then in regards to audio. Everything was digital. They manipulated everything digitally. Justin Long actually wasn't going to come back for this, but then he decided he was going to come back for this to voice Alvin. Matthew Gray Grubber is back as Simon. Jesse McCartney is back as Theodore. Amy Poehler is not back as Eleanor. Kaylee Coco is now Eleanor in just this singular film. Anna Faris is back as Jeanette, and Christina Applegate is back as Brittany. So it was nice having the 5 of the 6 come back for this particular thing. And it makes sense why Amy wasn't back for it, unfortunately, because the Chipettes didn't have a big part of it. They were only the beginning and the end. But being a final film, I wish it had everybody together. The other thing which didn't help this particular franchise is this came out the same exact day that Star Wars Episode 7 came out. What was the 7th film? The Force Awakens, which grossed over $2 billion. So that it had no comparison because it was the first Star Wars film on screen in 17 years. 2005's Revenge of the Sith to 2005's Revenge of the Sith to 2015's 2015 was episode 7? Oh, 17 years from... No, disregard everything I'm saying because I'm not... Math is hard today. No, there is no 17 years. No. Yes, so 10 years. So there wasn't a Star Wars film for 10 years in theaters. 05's Revenge of the Sith, and then we jumped to 2015's... Last Jedi? Force Awakens. There's too many films. I can't keep the numbers in track anymore. Force Awakens. There we go. Which then rebooted the series. And eventually got us the TV series, which are awesome. Mandalorian is an incredible show. I'm rambling. Okay, anyway, the point being is that it did not make a lot of money domestically. It made a lot of money overseas, but it didn't make a lot of money domestically because it was up against Star Wars. So it had no chance. If they moved the date, it would have been better, but it happens. So that's why they didn't make a 5th film. They were supposed to make a 5th film. They didn't make a 5th film because of money. That's how this all works. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. Franchise as a whole, watching the 4 films, I laughed. I got teary-eyed at this end one. It was a very emotional finale. I really loved it. I watched it as a TV series. And I realized certain projects you need to watch as a TV series. When you watch something as a TV series, you understand it better because it's different chapters in a film. So, like, a film overall has 3 acts. You have Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. But if you break it up into the 3 acts being 3 separate episodes, certain projects work better that way as episodes rather than acts. I don't know how else to explain it. It's a weird thing in regards to how certain stories are told. And this particular story from 07's or Alvin and the Chipmunks all the way through to 2015's Alvin and the Chipmunks Road Chip worked much better as breaking them up into 3 episodes of film. So we watched, what, 3, 6, 9, 12? We just watched 12 episodes of Alvin and the Chipmunks, live action. Awesome. Awesome miniseries, awesome franchise in general. I love the song at the end, the You're My Home song. I thought that was great. What the Chipmunks sang for Dave. It was really cool. Jason Lee is awesome. We'll always love Jason Lee. I can't wait to see him start playing grandpa characters years from now, because there's a full life cycle of an actor. It's just really, it's entertaining. I find it very entertaining. When you follow someone's career for so long, you watch them physically grow. You watch them physically age. And the person they were 30 years ago, when you're still watching their stuff from 30 years ago, obviously is not the same person they are now. So it's really neat watching someone grow artistically, creatively, professionally, but physically. Because everything changes. The body changes. Skin changes. Hairlines change. Everything changes. And it's neat watching someone progress professionally, but watching someone progress personally as well. So it's pretty cool being a Jason Lee fan for many a decade. You know, he was a pro skater for many years as well. So it's pretty cool. There's one really cool shot of there's what shot was it? He was doing a competition or something, and he had his kids with him, and he just has this big grin on his face, and he's like just standing like he's a proud dad with his 2 kids in front of him with his board in one hand as well. And it's just cool. It's just cool watching someone succeed in life in multiple facets. And it's really cool seeing it being documented as well at the same time. Very rare, very cool. Long live Jason Lee, long live the Chipmunks. On to the next review. Mahalo.